Hey guys, welcome back. I know, isn't that something, Dandy? I was pretty happy to see that. Let me tell you, I hope you're doing well. I am playing both on the Think Tank and on the Crime Den. Slowly but surely they're getting them. Slowly but surely. So let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at this. I'll bump it up a bit. Yeah, I do. I think as time goes, they're going to have more and more and more of these deaths figured out, because you can't tell me it wasn't him. I was watching yesterday, there is a YouTuber out there that did, I don't know what you call it, 3D imaging of that house and how the basement was set up, how the main floor was set up. And, he basically could just walk those people right in there. This is Rex Heuermann. Valerie Mack. Now, she was not found on Gilgo Beach. She was found out in Manorville area, I do believe. We should be hitting up a press conference fairly soon. I'll see if I can find anything that might be coming up. Don't forget to share, guys. We're working on this other channel slowly but surely. All right, Rex Heuermann, here we go. Accused Gilgo Beach Cheerio. Rex Heuermann will be charged with a 7th. The November 2000 death of Valerie Mack. So we're looking at just about 25 years. Police sources told the Post Tuesday. The parents of Mack, whose remains were found in Gilgo Beach and Manorville. Okay, so the 2 girls that they found in Manorville were partial remains. The rest of them, they were on Gilgo Beach. So he is supposed to be in court this morning to be arraigned on the new charge. So Valerie Mack also went missing by Melissa Taylor, who was also an escort in Philadelphia when she went missing, last seen by her family in the area of Port Republic, New Jersey, when she was 24 years old. Oh, neither do I. I don't think he ever stopped. Nope. The aliens are over there mixing stuff up right now. In the year she went missing, some of her then unidentified remains were found in a wooded area in Manorville. The rest of her remains were found 11 years later near Gilgo Beach, along with the remains of other female victims, all believed targeted. What a beautiful little girl, eh? Wow. And this was Valerie when she went missing. Now, I'm going to have to look, but is Valerie Mack Peach's mom? This man, he can look as docile as he wants, and then he's got that other side. And it is so completely obvious. Ooh, Lordy. So hopefully they're going to be hopefully they're going to be giving us a time soon as to when all this happened, what they had as the identifying piece. I'm really starting to think that I thought I'm going to have, I don't know why I have it in my mind that she ended up being Peaches, but it's been a while since I've gone over the case. Okay, bringing this up. To 7. Lordy, lordy. Bump it up a bit for you. I usually had all these set up. I'm like a rookie again. Okay, let's see what these guys have to say. I've always got everything on mute.
And it's a difficult thing to defend. Now we're at 6.
17 years of terror on Long Island. 2 new victims added to the suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer's hit list. The chilling evidence investigators now say they've uncovered. That is where we begin tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm Chuck Scarborough. Disturbing and shocking new twist in the Gilgo Beach murders. The 60-year-old New York architect, already accused of killing 4 women, is now accused of killing 2 more.
Jessica Taylor and Sandra Costilla, the latest victims. Costilla not publicly associated with this case until now. Her murder extends the timeline of brutal Long Island killings.
Okay.
The way back to 1993. The last known victim of the Gilgo serial killer disappeared in 2010.
Police revealed morbid new details today of the alleged serial killer's meticulous planning, including making lists of potential problems that could trip him.
Okay, what to know? We're going to leave that one alone because we're familiar with that information. So Rex, 61, first arrested in July 2023 in the deaths of 3 or 4 women whose remains were found in burlap sacks along a remote stretch of Gilgo Beach's Ocean Parkway. In 2010, the 4th was added in a superseding indictment on January 2024. He was an architect located down on 5th Avenue. Can you imagine? So he pled not guilty, of course, as they do. Other sets of remains were found amid the investigation. And a previously unknown victim, Sandra Costilla, whose case dates back to 1993. Now he's accused of unaliving Valerie Mack. Heuermann has pled not guilty to all of these charges against him. A planning document for his alleged deletes was seized at his home during a recent search. I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm going to have to do a fast review. There's been so much going on. And I haven't looked at this for a bit. I don't have a photographic memory, sadly. Wishing I did. So Valerie Mack vanished back in 2000, and he had been a suspect. She was one of those. Did they have a picture up there of? Yeah, it was up here where they showed a picture of all the girls, but not Valerie.
Long Island killings all the way back to 1993. The last known victim of the Gilgo serial killer disappeared in 2010.
Police revealed morbid new details today of the alleged serial killer's meticulous planning, including making lists of potential problems that could trip him up and how effective.
We've got these documents. We went through them on a stream in the think tank, but maybe we will review it. We'll see what time it comes. Listen to Lizzie. I'm sorry. Welcome to my zoo. Yeah, I'll take a look at those documents. Maybe we'll review them. I'll see if a time comes up for the press conference.
To dispose of his victims. This was Greg Sergel is live in Riverhead with all of this for us. Greg?
Chuck, Natalie, as you guys pointed out, this murder investigation has taken some turns over the last couple of months with new police searches at Rex Heuermann's home and in the woods of Manorville. Today, prosecutors revealed why those searches were ordered. It's all the result of an unexpected discovery that has changed the direction of this case. Alleged serial killer Rex Heuermann stood silently in court today as prosecutors told a judge they had discovered a chilling computer document. Suffolk's DA called it Rex Heuermann's blueprint for murder.
His intent was specifically to locate these victims, to hunt them down, and to bring them under his control and to kill them.
The DA says the actual Gilgo murders match to a large degree what's written in that document. It was found on a Heuermann laptop after prosecutors say he tried to.
So a lot of this is due to that last search. You know, like I said, things are going to slowly come out when it comes to this. Oh, you're right, Test Me. Yep. Yeah, I think you're 1000% right. Thank you for that.
To delete it. One note there reads, more sleep and noise control equals more playtime.
You've already made that assumption that he's the one who drafted it and he's the one who created it. I don't know that.
Heuermann's lawyer must now defend his client against 6 murder charges, the so-called Gilgo 4, and 2 other women identified in court today.
Jessica, my darling daughter,
Oh,
who will never be forgotten.
Lawyer Gloria Allred
Gloria Allred, you always like to see her in there. She's phenomenal, and she doesn't seem to age.
read a statement written by the mother of Jessica Taylor. Today, Rex Heuermann was charged with Taylor's 2003 murder and the 1993 murder of Sandra Costilla, a woman not previously linked to the Gilgo case. Prosecutors say strands of hair found with the bodies of each new victim have been tied to Heuermann through multiple DNA tests.
I can't express what this day means after waiting and hoping for answers.
Suffolk's DA said again today Rex Heuermann acted alone, and he confirmed that items taken from Heuermann's home last month are now being tested to determine if the murders were carried out there while Heuermann's family was away.
The investigation continues. The investigation has been expanded both to the bodies that were found on Gilgo and beyond.
The DA also said today that Rex Heuermann is now a suspect in the murder of another Gilgo victim, Valerie Mack. Late today, the lawyer for Heuermann's estranged wife released a statement saying that Asa Ellerup continues to doubt that her husband is capable of these heinous acts. Heuermann will be back in court in July. We're in Riverhead. Greg Sergel, News 4 New York.
So hopefully we will be looking at a lot more
I
information.
had a life-threatening brain bleed.
7th slaying for. So sorry about the young man losing his mind back here. So let's take a look at this here. We've got a timeline. So cases that are not officially linked to the Long Island serial Cheerio are noted. Links that colored up in blue will pop open. So let's see here. February 1st, 1982. Look at this name. Tina Foglia, 19. Do you guys familiar with Tina Foglia? Let's see here. Tina Foglia. That's a new damn name. Seek ID to slain woman. Also dismembered, found, no, it's saying on Wednesday. This is back in 82. Beautiful young lady. This is actually from 1982. I'm liking it. Great information. She's missing a ring. The crime scene. Okay, this is what we wanted to look at. So this is before she was identified. She was in 3 dark plastic garbage bags tied with a cord and bound by a state transportation department cleanup crew shortly after 10 a.m. on the east side of Sagtitos Parkway near the westbound lane of Southern Parkway. Believing the bags contained refuse, the men started to load them on a truck, but their weight made them curious. Upon opening one, they seen parts of a human body. Oh my God, of course. Of course. Okay, give me a second. I'm just... I like how they've got all of this stuff here for them. So let's see here. So homicide detectives conducted a probe. The body was found on a parkway under their jurisdiction. Now, doesn't that sound interesting? Toxology failed to determine a cause of death. Thanks, Dandy. Perfect. Thanks, Dandy. Isn't that interesting? I appreciate it. So she was found without clothing, and her jewelry was also gone. 5'2", about 180 pounds, dark hair and brown eyes. Thank you. Hey, Ruthie. Good to see you. Great to see you. Thanks for finding me over here. We are also on... Let me see. I'll put this in here. Let me see. It's really good to see you guys. Is that going to do it? And I think if you click that link there, it'll take you over to the crime den. Come on over. So April 20th, 1996, 2 female legs wrapped in plastic bags were discovered on the bayside shore of Fire Island, 1 mile west of Davis Park Beach. This is Fire Island, Jane Doe. Now this is older, Fire Island Jane Doe. Jane Doe number 7. And the two sets of remains were later linked. Yes, there we go, by DNA. And that was the last one, Karen Vergata. Okay, so the members, here we go, Dandy. The torso of a young African-American female. Nassau County detectives are hoping that a chest tattoo of a peach will help them identify the headless, clothesless torso of a female at a state park. Police think that the tattoo artist or someone close to the victim will recognize the design and step forward to identify her. So this is Baby Doe's mom, right? This is Peaches. Medium build between 18 and 30. The peach tattoo is above the woman's left breast. A scar from a cesarean section. Now there is the tattoo. Just lovely. This is what she was found in. Towel found with the victim. Wonder if they found DNA on that. Pillowcase found with the victim. You see, jewelry found with the victim. You know, most of these girls I don't think would have this type of jewelry. And this is jewelry found with Baby Doe, Peach's baby. Peaches estimates she had died less than 3 days before being discovered. Are you serious? I don't think I knew that. On April 11, 2011, police discovered human remains inside a plastic bag near Jones Beach State Park, referred to as Jane Doe number 3. In December 2016. Oh, thank you for that, Dandy. In December of 2016, Peaches and Jane Doe number 3 were positively identified as being the same person. DNA analysis identified Peaches as the mother of Baby Doe. Both were found wearing similar jewelry. Okay, so this is going to be Valerie Mack. Manorville, Jane Doe. Is that the only one we've got? The discovery of human remains in a plastic bag in a wooded area of Manorville last week has yielded few clues. Cops say the remains believed to be that of a white woman aged 35 to 40 years of age, 5'1" to 5'5", and about 110 to 120 pounds with brown hair. Oh, look at. Isn't that something? Looks very familiar, doesn't it? This would be from when they were digging out there. Must have been a couple years ago now, maybe even a year, when they were able to identify the one that was out there with Valerie. It'll come to me. We just talked about her. This looks exactly the same as those. Look at that. Because that's pretty much where all of those cops were back in. 2011. This is the Gilgo Beach crime scene. And they were throwing. I'm thinking he's going to be found guilty of 95% of these. Maybe 1 or 2 are not going to be, in my opinion. So he was managing to get them over this bushed area. Valerie Mack. Happy household, eh? Pretty girl. Aw, little button nose. How sad. This is the picture that's been used. Jessica, good morning, Dan or Mexi. So May 2020, police announced they had positively identified Manorville Jane Doe as Valerie Mack, born in July 2nd, 1976. I don't think that is the one. So this one has thrown quite a few people for a link, including myself. Not officially linked, but I mean, come on. Hunters found the body of a white or Hispanic man in the woods off the eastbound side of Long Island Expressway. Oh, look at that. LIE, the lie. Near exit 68 on North Shirley, the victim had black hair and was wearing blue and white striped Gap boxer shorts. His age was estimated between 30 and 45. He was about 5'6" to 6 feet tall, weighed 130 to 150. A surgical tape was noted embedded into his chin. He had multiple traumatic injuries, including a crushed larynx, implying that he had been July 26, 2003. Dismembered torso of a female, minus its head and hands, was discovered in Manorville, New York. A tattoo on her back. Okay, not sure what that is. Yeah, it had been mutilated. The victim was identified 7 months later as Jessica Taylor. Oh, she wasn't very big. Another young, tiny girl. No. She looks like a relative of mine. She's not. Jessica Taylor is believed to be the second woman from the left. Well, it does kind of look like her, doesn't it? Date of birth, June 7th, 1983. 20 years old when she was reported missing from Brooklyn, New York. Last seen in Manhattan, July 21st, 2003. 5'3", about 125 pounds, brown hair and green eyes. Discovered on July 26th, 2003. In Manorville on March 29th, 2011. In Cedar Beach. Oh, Lordy. Long Island cops appealed to the public for help in yesterday's find of a, oh, Lordy, hacked up and believed to have been unalived by a Cheerio. Detectives released a photo of the tattoo in the shape of angel wings found on the lower back. Silver and purple design on the woman's toenail. They hope someone will recognize the markings so that they can help identify her. Believed to be Hispanic, possibly in her 20s, 110, 125 pounds. A woman who was dismembered was found on Long Island last summer, identified yesterday as a working girl, Identity is Jessica Taylor, 20, determined through DNA. She was found on July 26th near Hosley Manor Road in Manorville. Good God, man. Saying that messing up that tattoo did not hide her identification. Scrawled across the white wings was Pete's angel, or at least that's what investigators thought it said. That's interesting. This is the crime scene. So it looks like he just pulled off the side of the road. And there's that horrible tattoo. November 10th, 2003. Oh, Lordy, a hunter discovered a body in the woods in the area about 3 miles east of where the bodies of Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack had been dumped. Autopsy results were inconclusive. Do you know of this one, Mackie? The first one was interesting as well. Let's see here. I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled. Okay. We've got an update. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. Does anybody mind? Can somebody throw up the crime den for me? And I'll scroll it. We've missed you, Tracy. Oh, there you did it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Come on, come on. Come on, guys. I'm curious to see if they're going to mention any of the others as well. Hey, Ruthie. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to push mute. We've got a singing dog. And the birds are happy.
She's great, and her husband, Stephen Van Meyer, private. He was one of our fellows. But the point is, people like you who really want to find that shit and want to do all that work, I don't want to do all that. If you want to do all that, right? Little there.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming, and good morning. As we all know by now, today my office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant Heuermann with a seventh charged murder in the second degree for the murder of Valerie Mack, which occurred in 2000. I remind everyone that all of these cases and all of these murders are just allegations, and we look forward to proving them in court. As I've previously stated, the work of the Gilgo Task Force is ongoing and continuing. And when I said that, I meant what I said. The defendant is now charged with the murder of 7 young women: Sandra Castilla from 1993, Valerie Mack from 2000, Jessica Taylor from 2003, Maureen Brainerd Barnes from 2007, Melissa Bartholomew from 2009, Megan Waterman from 2010 in June, and Amber Costello from September of 2010. Again, they occurred between 1993 and 2010. We are here because the Gilgo Task Force has continued to work together to obtain not only evidence for the charged crimes, but has continued to work on other uncharged crimes as well. And I am grateful for the great work that the Gilgo Task Force has done. Of course, not only my office and my team, but the other agencies who have worked with us. And we're gonna talk about that in a while. As you've also probably noticed, we here with us today are the victims' family members. I think pretty much every charged victim, their family members are here. Specifically, we're joined by Joanne and Edwin Mack, who are the parents of Valerie Mack. Through the grand jury process, we get to learn a little bit about our victims, and we did that through the Mack family. And Valerie is very similar to the other victims in this case. Extraordinary person. The family are extraordinary people, and we are honored to prosecute this case for Valerie and her family, or on behalf of Valerie and her family. And again, I think the Mack family is emblematic of the other families in this case who have steadfastly stood by their loved ones and jealously guarded their memories. And we have nothing but respect and admiration for those victims' families. We also, speaking of gratitude, I want to mention our task force partners, some of whom I haven't mentioned here before, but of course we have our great sheriffs, Suffolk County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Errol Toulon Jr. I know undersheriffs, I spoke with undersheriffs Steve Kios and Keith Taylor. They're here to support us, and as well as the task force. Our Suffolk County Police Department, we have Acting Commissioner Rob Waring, who I spoke to, and I saw Deputy Police Commissioners Kevin Catalina and Daryl Simmons. So I know, among others, we have this homicide squad led by Kevin Byer, as well as Sergeant Stephen Geyer. Inspector Sean Barron from the Suffolk County PD is with us here today. I want to thank the Suffolk County PD, both the agency as well as the Homicide Bureau, for their work on this and many other cases. We have the New York State Police, Major Stephen Udise, Captain Ken Gine, and his team, who've been instrumental in the task force and the great work that they've done. And I want to thank them. We have FBI Supervisory Special Agent Don Osbacher's here. Special Agent Craig Mateo, I believe, is here. But the FBI has been and continues to be tremendous help in this case, and we certainly want to thank them going forward and we really appreciate the work that they've done and the work that they continue to do for us. United States Secret Service, I don't know if they're here, but they've been assisting with a lot of the electronic devices, so we want to certainly thank them as well. New York City OCME, somehow I neglected to thank them through all of the various superseding indictments. Specifically, I want to thank their anthropology unit and their forensic biology department. They were working here in Suffolk during the commission of many of these crimes, and so they've come back to Suffolk to assist us in our investigation and prosecution of these cases, and they've done a tremendous job, and we certainly want to thank that office in Suffolk County, led by Odette Hall. Dr. Hall has been tremendous in this case. Of course, our own Suffolk County Crime Lab with Director Constance Dinkle and her team. They have, again, like all of these partners, not only they help us with the Gilgo cases, they help us with so many more cases, and we certainly thank them. I want to thank my own team, led by Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, the ADAs who I've worked with, who are doing a tremendous job, and everyone. Our team, we have an army of people from my office who is really doing a great job, and we want to thank them. A case of this magnitude takes the assistance of so many different moving parts, and we certainly thank all of the folks who people don't even know about, who really helped us significantly. It's more than it's just a literal army of people, so we certainly appreciate that.
I think there's still four more
We've
on
said,
Long
we
Island,
are not
at least.
limiting this investigation to Gilgo Beach. We've moved off of the beach. I think that if you had asked me when we started this, could we potentially get to the place where we are now? I think that we thought that this was a possibility, and we're just very happy that we're here. So we're going to continue to work these cases. We're going to continue to prepare these cases for trial. Regarding the murder of Valerie Mack, most of it is in the discovery letter, so I'm not going to repeat. Suffice to say that Valerie's body was discovered on November 19th, 2000, in a wooded area off of Mill Road by hunters. From there, we worked the case. According to the bail document, as you see, the evidence is we have mitochondrial DNA from a hair that was found on the body of Valerie Mack, which was a portion of the body of Valerie Mack, which was found off of Mill Road. That hair, mitochondrial DNA analysis was performed, and that hair was consistent with the mitochondrial DNA profiles of both Asa Heuermann and her daughter, Asa Ellerup, and her daughter, Victoria Heuermann. And I believe the numbers are to an exclusion of 99.96% of the population. Similar to the other cases, we then sent that hair out for nuclear DNA analysis, and because it's nuclear DNA, it's much more discriminating, and the profile came back. The most conservative estimate was 1.31 times 10 to the 356 power. So again, you take that 1.31, you move the decimal point over 356 times, and that's the number that you get, which excludes that percentage of the population, but includes, in this case, it was, I believe it was Victoria Heuermann again. So that's where we are. We in the bail letter, we've placed some other evidence with regard to the planning document. Specifically, if you recall, the HK document, which we've referred to as the planning document, we see that one of the dump sites which were discussed in that document was Mill Road, which was the road that Valerie was found in the vicinity of. We also have seen during our searches a number of articles with regard to the Gilgo Beach investigation in various publications like People, There was a New York Times Magazine article about the Gilgo investigation, which was found in the defendant's safe, as well as other news articles in which the discovery of the bodies of Sandra, Jessica, and Valerie are found. And those newspapers were retained by the defendant, as well as information when Valerie was identified. So she was positive when she went from being, I believe she was Jane Doe number 6, and then through the work of the FBI, we were able to establish that it was Valerie.
Sure glad the FBI joined in again.
That there was internet searches done.
Oh yes, West Family vibes, absolutely.
Controlled by the defendant at or around the time that she was first identified.
There are a couple of nut jobs.
So, that's the evidence in this case. Again, it's just that. It's evidence, it's allegations, and we look forward to proving them at court.
Me too.
But I'll turn it over for questions now.
Their volume is really bad, you guys. I've got it cranked up.
We spoke to the Mack family. I don't believe they want to give a statement at this time. I can tell you that I had the opportunity to speak. They are very grateful. They are very grateful for the small bit of closure that the task force has been able to provide. And it was very interesting to us. And well, I'll step back. They're thankful for all the investigators stemming right back from the very origins of the case.
Oh God, no.
Work that was done in this case, and they're grateful for that. And I had the opportunity to share with the Mack family the reactions of some of the older investigators when we reached out to them and told them that we had gotten some traction in the case. The excitement on those, the palpable excitement that we got from those investigators, made it obvious to us that, the lives of these women matter. And we as investigators, we understand that. Obviously, no one understands it more than the families. So again, we're just delighted and honored and privileged to be able to work with these families. And again, there's not so much we can do, but at least we provide them with a small measure of closure. Yeah, so again, if you look at the planning document, it's discussed foam, drain foaming cleaner, and issues with regard to that. And at around the time of the commission of this crime, there was a plumber did go to the Heuermann residence. Well, I mean, obviously, we don't have to specifically prove where they happen. We just, we have other elements that we need to prove. But I think if you look at this case, if you look at the planning document, if you look at the adhesive staining on the walls and the sort of enclosed pattern, certainly all of that is consistent with the commission of those murders occurring at the home. Doesn't matter what I believe, as I say, matters what I can prove. And what we've done, and to the extent we've been able to have success, is you take each one of these cases, you take each one of the location of the bodies, and you use that as a separate investigation and a separate crime scene until you're specifically given clues which allow you to put them together. So until we're able to do that, we won't speak on that, and we speak to indictments. Listen, that's the process, and right now he's absolutely right. These are allegations, and it's our obligation to prove them. So we're going to be held to our burden. We're going to be held to our task, and we look forward to doing it.
They wouldn't be charging him if they didn't know.
It's not included in the bail letter, so we're not going to discuss that. With regard to the other, we've been able to establish that it was not included in this bail allocation. And the thing is, we're precluded oftentimes about talking about things that have not been publicly disclosed or disclosed in court. So all of the bail letters, that is the evidence that which has been disclosed. Obviously, we have other evidence in this case. I don't believe we have any specific evidence with regard to the family's whereabouts. Well, fortunately for us, we're not going to have to come to the question of whether or not it's just the DNA evidence is enough, because it's our position we have a lot of other evidence. And if you could go through all the bail documents to see a portion of it, obviously not all of that evidence, because we have other evidence. But as the judge said in court today, this is a cutting edge DNA, the SNP, single nucleotide polymorphisms. That technology which we're using in this way in New York State, it has been used in other places in the country a handful of times, but it has never been used in New York State. So whenever that happens, there'll be a challenge. There'll be a hearing called a Fry hearing, which the judge has set down, and the defense will make their arguments. We'll make our arguments. I anticipate having a hearing on that issue before the judge, and then it's up to the judge to provide the decision as whether or not the technology used in this case is scientifically accepted, and whether or not it'll be admissible in this case. So that's upcoming litigation.
The Fry, I'm Kevin Sheehan. Hi. The Fry hearing you just mentioned, that's coming up in January. Will there be any motions on the part of the defense to break up these cases into like a number of cases as far as victims?
Well, I think the judge indicated on the record that he wanted a Fry DNA hearing motion filed by the defense by January, I believe.
Yep.
And then he also said at the very least, and then he mentioned the severance motion. So I think that whether or not the defense decides they want to sever the case, that motion we would anticipate it coming, if not in January, then soon thereafter. Yes.
What do you guys think of this? Are we going to get the rest of them too?
Again, what we've done with this case, what we've done with the phone records, the financial records, DNA, the internet searches, and the various things that he has kept since going all the way back to 1993. It's evincing his intent. It's evincing, his interest in the case. So we think that it's circumstantial evidence of his that persistent interest in the case, the victims, the methods being used to starting back in 2010, all the methods used by law enforcement to try to catch the murderer of some of the individuals on Gilgo. All of those things evince a certain mental state.
Maybe his daughter, Tracy.
We think when taken with all the evidence, it paints a certain picture. Again, the picture will need to prove at trial.
You just mentioned the evidence, the tape patterns on the ceiling, in the home. Were those all? I know those were in different areas, but were they all in the basement?
Yeah.
They were all in the-
And if you look at, if you look at the planning document, he's talking about push pins because, and there's a, well, when I say he, I mean the document mentions push pins. And then, and that the tape is no good, presumably because it creates a adhesive stain on the edge.
That's all in the basement.
It's all in the basement.
I sure hope so, James.
Scored a touchdown in high school. I still have that article.
I hope they televise it.
Just one.
Do you have that with you?
I'm sorry. Yes, at around significant times in the investigation. Yeah, I believe it was the identification of Valerie Mack as the victim. I believe there was. I don't specifically have that information for you. We can get that. No, I'm not content at all. And it doesn't really matter whether I'm content or not. It matters whether the judge is content. And I can tell you the judge is less than content. And that's his job. This is a very active and aggressive judge that tries many cases throughout the year, and he's eager to try this case. So he's doing his job, and he's pushing us. He's pushing the defense. He's pushing us. Obviously, now when you're talking about 7 separate murders going back from 1993, you have missing persons reports from other outside jurisdictions in New York, outside jurisdictions from the state. All of that, we have tips, all of that, we have forensic material and evidence. All of that has to be provided to the defense, which we're working through. So it is a difficult task. I would say that the judge understands that, but he's also pushing us, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and comply with the judge and get ready. The first step, it sounds like the first step is going to be the trial hearing. So we have a lot of work to do with that. That's going to presumably they will have experts. We're going to have experts. And we'll have that hearing. Well, I mean, I think the judge said late February, or if not late February, perhaps early March of the ensuing year. Yeah.
You're probably right,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Most unique case that I think I've ever done, and we go all the way back to its origins. And we talk about the uniqueness of this case, where we took a cold case, we developed a suspect, and then we were off and running, and then you had this tension between putting your case together for the grand jury, maintaining the secrecy of the case, pre-indictment, and then also providing for public safety, and then the tension between all that resulted in the case coming down in July. Well, now we have this tension where we have to prepare what we've charged for trial, but we also have to continue to investigate all. And again, we have a cold case unit, that we're working with the Suffolk County PD, state troopers, federal partners, Suffolk County sheriffs. So we're working on those cold cases. So the business of Suffolk County law enforcement cannot stop with this case. So there's always that tension. We've got to provide this case, for trial. This judge will not take any excuses, so we've got to do that. But we've got an obligation to continue to investigate these cases and provide closure to as many families as we can. And that's whether or not these result in additional charges for anyone. And obviously we don't know that until we charge. But that the answer to that question unfortunately changes on a daily basis depending on the evidence we receive and the input we receive. Yeah, he says that, he wants, again, he was a defense attorney for a long time. He was a prosecutor for a long time. He was a judge for a long time. He's done a lot of these cases from every conceivable vantage point. So he understands, but by the same token, he's pushing us. So, that's, we have to, first and foremost, we have to comply with the court. We intend to.
Absolutely. You have to have everything nailed right down and
Still
get
tied up.
this sucker.
Yeah, I mean, again, we started the cold case unit. We have a number of cases. Karen Brigada is one of those victims. So we'll continue to work those cases. But as we've been saying, those cases, those bodies, they're separate investigations, separate crime scenes until we can speak through an indictment otherwise, whether they're related or not. I mean, I think to a certain extent, law enforcement, everybody in life is hindered because you never have enough resources. But, I think we're managing very well. It would be nice to have that money, but we have great partners. We have our Suffolk County executive, our Suffolk County legislature is very sympathetic to what we're doing. So, it would be great to have that money, but it's not.
Yes, he is.
If something needs to be done, it gets done. The big difference, I think, is it's just, as far as it's not, rocket science providing all of this digital evidence, but it is important and specific work. And the more hands you have on it, the quicker it'll get done. And having that federal money would be very helpful. I think Ms. Allred is going to be having a press conference afterwards. I believe she represents closely.
Allred might be having
I'll leave that.
a press conference.
Is that like a vault where the entire thing is just where you found that the thief in the first place? Like,
No, that's
on the vault?
yeah. The vault is just where the gun vault.
Okay,
So it was behind it was locked.
In addition to the guns,
There was that specific among other things.
So in the gun vault in the safe? Inside the gun vault?
No, it was inside the gun vault.
But not locked in the safe.
And the gun vault, in effect, is a giant safe. Yes. Well, again, belief and you look at the HK document and you look at, the HK document evinces two things. Clearly, it evinces intent, most obviously, but it also evinces careful and meticulous planning. So, and there's certainly a modus operandi with regard to the commission of these cases. Certainly, there are a lot of similarities between, Jessica and Valerie, and I think that's. And again, the victims that were found off of Gilgo, at least partially, in some instances, that we found them earlier. Right? So we had more evidence, more indication of what happened to them. But I mean, if you look at all the victims, and then in the context of all the evidence in the case, it would certainly appear that the house figured prominently. And again, with many, if not,
Isn't that something? He was bringing them back to that creepy house.
Of the house at the time of the time the victims went missing. Yeah, well, we're not going to, speak to that. I mean, I think the only thing we're able to do is estimate through, forensic experts, given the condition of the crime scene. And that's where that 2 period time period comes from. Okay, thank you very much.
Ole, ole. We'll take a look back over here. So I don't know. I think we're going to hear a lot more coming yet. I do believe. Okay, so let's see here. March 3rd, 2007. So some of these victims are not, oh, it's so, oh, there we are. I just think that house is, yeah, it's something else. I would never in a million years have gone trick-or-treating at that house, nowhere I let my child. Yeah, I wonder if John Ray will speak out. Very good question. I've got everything kind of listed on here, and I'm hoping that we get something fairly soon. So I'm also streaming on the Think Tank as well as the Crime Den. So sub up to the Crime Den. I'll be streaming there eventually more than I am streaming here. So I'd love to have you join me out there. Oh, well said. Well said. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Yeah, like I know he had drop cloths up and oh, thanks, James. I know that he had drop cloths up and there was something about power tools and plastic and oh my God. Just a freak. Just a freak. So some of these that we're going through are, they're not considered part of Gilgo Beach, but there's enough, it seems, that is similar that they're putting them into this grouping. So this was March 3rd, 2007, a suitcase containing a taken apart torso of an unidentified Hispanic or light-skinned African-American female washed up on a beach at a harbor island park. And okay, Marinette, Mamornek, I'm not going to even go there, embarrass myself. A few weeks later, her legs washed up in a different area along Long Island. There was pointy wounds on the torso, and she had 2 cherries. Mamornek, oh lordy. Light-skinned African-American or Hispanic, 5'4" to 5'6", 160 to 200 pounds. Hoping a tattoo of 2 bright red cherries on a green stem will lead them to the attacker of a woman whose torso washed up in Westchester County. A beachcomber found the torso stuffed into a suitcase in, oh my God, Mamaroneck yesterday, police said. Flooding may have carried the large dark suitcase and its grisly contents downstream. Calling a tiny tattoo. Headless, armless, legless. There's lots of articles. March 6, 2007. washed up in a suitcase. Suitcase came ashore as storm-fed floods hit the region. Headless, armless, legless. Harbor Island Park could have come from almost anywhere. "35 to 50 years old, 5'6", 180 to 200. That's all consistent. Okay, I was wondering where these cherries were. It says cherries on a green stem above her right breast, 1 inch to 1.25 inches in length. They found no other body parts. Oh, looks like they thought it was an Orange County woman at first. False alarm. Isn't that scary? Missing people that are not being found and found people that are not being identified. What a world we live in. Two cherries, green stem. Okay, July 9th, 2007. Okay, hopefully, yes, this is the picture we all are familiar with of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. She really, in my opinion, was one of the girls that really brought attention to Rex. Her roommate was able to identify him or give a really, really good description of him. They met when he came in as a customer, and they basically chased him out of the house. 25 years old. She was born on June 14th, 1982. Small, dark-haired ladies seem to be the MO. Absolutely. We've got back to 1993 so far. So Maureen was found back here right along with, I think she was tucked in with the first 4 girls. So he would take them across the bushes and then deposit their bodies over there. So she was last seen in her room at a Super 8 hotel in Midtown Manhattan. She had left her home in Norwich, Connecticut to meet a client that she had booked through Craigslist. She was reported missing on the 14th of 2007, and her body was found December 13th, 2010, beside Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach, where she had been unalived around her neck. Cold, desolate place. So again, not officially linked. This is June 23rd, 2008. Tanya Rush, 39. Oh, pretty girl again. So it looks like workers found. Oh, there we go. Another suitcase. And this is Long Island Southern State Parkway. They were moving debris. They're saying the suitcase may have been near the Newbridge Road exit in Belmore for about a week. Senior investigator Stephen Lauder said the workers didn't open the case, but its odor made them call police. Ugh. So she was last seen around 3 a.m. walking towards a subway station in Brooklyn. Her dismembered body was discovered June 27, 2008. A lot of bad stuff happens on June 27th. It's funny that it's just a date that's fairly common for bad shite to happen. Crammed inside of a suitcase. Lots of rage in this attack. So this is Melissa Bartholomew. She was in that grouping of 4. Another very pretty girl. You're right, James, with the brown, all that brown hair. Very pretty. She was 24 years old. Born on April 14th, 1985. Reported missing from the Bronx. On July 12th, she was last seen, 2009. Oh, tiny little mite, 4 feet 10 inches, about 95 pounds. Blonde hair and hazel eyes. Discovered on December 11th, 2010. Again, right there by Melissa was the other 3 that we are talking about. Valerie Mack was kind of down a ways, and she was found about the same time as Peach's baby doe. No, she didn't. Jeez. So she was last seen outside her apartment on Underhill Avenue in the Bronx. She'd arranged for a $1,000 date with a client the next night somewhere on Long Island. After her disappearance, her sister received several phone calls from a man using Melissa's cell phone and claiming to be her deleter. Now, doesn't that just sound like Rex taking nothing but pure enjoyment of terrorizing not only these women who he allegedly brought back to that disgusting house of his? Oofta. She's another young gal. She was found on December 11th, same time as the rest of the girls. And she had also been attacked around the neck. So isn't this sad? Shannon Gilbert, the girl that brought attention to everything. She was a worker. But you know what? We got Dr. D-Fib that there's a good chance he had something to do with this. So is there a chance that Rex is not involved in this? I think there's a chance, but I also think there's a chance that Rex knew that doctor. Again, tiny lady, this one, 5'5" to 5'6". Born October 24th, 1986. Again, light brown to blonde hair, brown eyes, a scar under her right eye, a cherry tattoo on her left wrist, and a scorpion tattoo on her back. She was wearing blue jeans, white blouse with ruffles, and black boots. Last seen May 1st, 2010 at Oak Beach Residential Association on Oak Beach. Disappeared after leaving a client's house. We're going to look at Google Earth. The one that I've brought up isn't the one where everybody is labeled. I can't seem to find that one right now. But it does give us an idea where Dr. D-Fib was, where Shannon Gilbert was. And we can get a good look at Gilgo Beach. So Shannon, if everybody remembers, called 911 and said that people were trying to delete her. That is the saddest thing ever, to listen to the fear in that young girl's voice and know that they didn't find her for, what, a year? Just not far from this great doctor's house. So she fled that house and was last seen banging on doors of homes in the neighborhood screaming for help. Okay, 19 months, so almost a year and a half they looked for her. She was discovered on December 13th, 2011, about a quarter mile from where she was last seen. Okay, so Dr. Peter Hackett, that is Dr. Defib. If you look back, there's quite a few videos on LISC, or we call them the Gilgo Beach deleters. There's quite a bit in the Think Tank playlist as far as Dr. Peter Hackett goes. So check it out. There's also some videos on there where he likes to pretend he's having a heart problem with his heart. It's quite entertaining. So Dr. Peter Hackett, an Oak Beach resident, called Gilbert's mother and allegedly claimed that he ran a home for wayward girls. Now, he denies this call. Good God. He had treated Shannon on the morning of her disappearance, is what he said. Hackett later denied making the calls. However, phone records proved the calls took place. Mary Gilbert, which is Shannon's mom, later filed a wrongful death suit against Dr. Peter Hackett, Dr. Defib. He's got something to do with something. He's just one hell of a strange guy. He packed her up and moved from the area completely. And it's just, I think that there's more to his story. Then we got Megan Waterman. She was also part of that grouping of 4. Very, very pretty girl. Natural brunette. Not that that matters, but he does seem to like his brunettes. This is her in the lobby of her hotel just before she went missing. Wow. Look at how young she is there. That's a really good question. How did Dr. Hackett get her phone number? Very good question. I wonder if Shannon, I can't remember, was she found with her cell phone? Oh, just a little cutie patootie, this one. Date missing June 6, 2010. She was only 22, about 5'5", 145 pounds, with brown bleached blonde hair and brown eyes. There's a birthmark on the inner of her forearm, a mole on the right side of her face, and she has one tattoo on her back. And again, she was found in the same area. Oh, you got so many good questions as usual, my friend. Yeah. Now, what was he? From Pickle Park. So this must be the responders. So she was last seen in Hauppauge, New York, walking towards a nearby convenience store that she had been staying in at the Holiday Inn Express in Hauppauge, and was captured on a security camera walking out of the hotel around 1:30 a.m. She was discovered on December 13th beside Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach, and of course, again, attacked around the neck. And now we've got Amber Lynn Costello. Oh, this one, she was 27, born in February 10th, 1983, missing from North Babylon, New York. Last seen in Babylon, New York on September 2nd, 2010. 5 foot tall, 100 pounds. He liked his victims tiny, didn't he? Brown hair, hazel eyes. He didn't like the girls that would fight back? So she was last seen by her roommate leaving her home in North Babylon to meet a client. The client had called 3 or 4 times and offered Amber $1,500 for her services. Amber was found December 13th, 2010, beside Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. She also was attacked around the neck. December 11th, 2010, the Suffolk County Police Canine searching for Shannon Gilbert discovered human skeletal remains along the Gilgo Park, the Ocean Parkway at Gilgo Beach, and this victim was later identified as Melissa Bartholomew. December 13th, police discovered more skeletal remains, and they were close to Melissa Bartholomew. The bodies were found within 500 feet of each other. December 15th, the FBI offers to assist in the investigation. Police seize a white SUV from a client's Oak Beach residence. December 16th, 2010, Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office reported that the 4 sets of remains were all female victims and that Shannon Gilbert was not among them. The ME's office held a press conference to explain the investigative approach involving dental records, DNA comparison, and or facial reconstruction to help find the victims. On January 19th, they identified Megan Waterman, who had been reported missing in June 2010. January 24th, 2011, police reveal the identity of 3 remaining victims: Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Lynn Costello, along with Megan Waterman. These 4 victims are referred to as the Gilgo 4. March 29, 2011, Suffolk police returned to Gilgo Beach to continue the search for Shannon Gilbert. 1 mile east of the original site, police discovered a skull, forearm, and hands, and they would be identified as additional remains of Jessica Taylor, whose torso was found in Manorville in 2003. March 31st, 2011, police state that the 5th set of remains discovered are not those of Shannon Gilbert. April 4th, 2011, police find 3 more sets of human remains along Ocean Parkway between Oak Beach and Gilgo Beach. They found an Asian male dressed in women's clothing. The victim may have been transgender. The cause of his passing was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. This is the sketch that was released back in 2011. I'm not sure. Okay, hand, skull, and foot were found and referred to Jane Doe 6, later linked to Manorville Jane Doe, and they did those sketches as well. And the unidentified female toddler, referred to as Baby Doe, was found wrapped in a blanket with no apparent signs of trauma. On April 11th, 2011, police discovered 2 more sets of human remains in separate locations along Ocean Parkway. Okay. So Ocean Parkway. Now you can get there by crossing the Great South Bay Bridge, and it will hook on. You can go a little bit further and you end up on Fire Island. But right in here, now this is where Peter Hackett lived. And this is where Shannon was found. I don't know if it's going to let me walk here. It should. Mm-mm. No street view data. So he lived right here. Last place to any signs of anything. He phoned Shannon's mother saying that she had been there, and look at she's about halfway to the highway from his place. Now everybody else was basically found in this area here. We'll go to Oak Beach really fast. Oak Beach. There we go. So this is Ocean Parkway. It is a very long stretch of highway that runs the length of this little island, Long Island. Now, can we positively say that that is the end of the victims on this beach? I say no. And not only here, look at how desolate. There's a car. So let's see here. Massapequa. Okay, so there we go. So we've got Gilgo Beach all the way up and down here. And then we've got Rex Heuermann's house right here. Right here, sorry. And his creepy house. There it is. What do you guys think? I don't think I ever noticed that before. His kid's sitting in the front yard. You know, Dandy, just what you're saying, I know. And that to me, that seems like the most likely. Little greenhouse back there. Funny. And there he is. You know, I was looking at pictures of this garage, and it is about as narrow as it looks. I don't even know how they'd get a vehicle in there. Okay. So on April 11th, police discovered 2 more sets of remains in separate locations along Ocean Parkway. plastic bag containing upper and lower extremities were found near Jones Beach State Park. DNA testing later determined that this victim, referred to as Jane Doe 3, was the mother of the child found a week before. So we have mummy and baby. What a sick shite. A skull was discovered along Ocean Parkway west of Tobay Beach. This victim was referred to as Jane Doe 7 and was later linked to the Fire Island Jane Doe, whose legs were found in 1996 on Fire Island. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so with that. Oh, hello. Oh, what the hell? Where are we, guys? Okay. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to be intruding. Okay, so Fire Island. Right in here. Lighthouse. So we know that there was parts found here and then more parts found over on Gilgo. Fire Island Jane Doe. May 9th, 2011, Suffolk County District Attorney Thomas Spada stated there's no evidence that all these remains are the work of a single deleter. Well, you know what? I think we got a single deleter here for most of these deletings. On May 17th, Suffolk police revealed they are reviewing other homicide cases for possible links to the bodies found along Ocean Parkway. The only case specifically mentioned is Tanya Rush, whose body was found June 27th in Belmore. Now, how strange is that? How strange is that? Okay, let's see here. So, wonder if the aliens are using Google Earth. Ocean Parkway, all the way down here. Fire Island, right here. A little too close. On May 29th, 2011, 2 letters to CBS News. Dr. Peter Hackett admits to have calling Shannon Gilbert's mother in the days after her disappearance. Really? I think I'll keep that. Shannon Gilbert was last seen in Oak Beach. Shannon's family claims Dr. Peter Hackett, a resident of Oak Beach, called to say he had seen Shannon taken her into his home the morning she vanished. Dr. Hackett, who wrote 2 letters to the show 48 hours denying he had seen or treated Shannon and explaining why he telephoned her family. What the hell? This guy, I tell you what. At least he's not weird or anything. Let's take a look. What did he have to say? So you can see 48 Hours Mystery. See Peter Hackett, Oak Beach, New York, May 29th, 2011 to 48 Hours. CBS gives the address. Dear Miss Moriarty, any important story is worth getting right. In response to your letter, I will share only the facts I am aware of. Do you think he's going to only show the facts that he's aware of? See you later, skater. Okay, so when I heard the name of a person named Shannon Gilbert, she was already missing. I never met her. I never treated her. I never spoke with her. She was never in my home. I greeted the people looking for her by chance. I recall the first people were Mike and Alex. I provided them with my calling card. Should I be able to help and encourage them to follow up with the police? I returned to call as requested. Since I had never met Shannon, it obviously did not have anything to do with my permission to treat her. It was supportive, and that was all. That call was last May, and perhaps that is why it is being reported inaccurately. Really? I also met some of her family when they came to our neighborhood on Mother's Day, May 9th, 2010, to post signs and going door to door asking questions. When months went by and nothing was heard, we assumed Shannon must have returned home. I am sorry, that was not the case. Yeah. I had nothing to do with anything that occurred on the night Shannon went missing. I was home sleeping with my wife. The police continued their investigation. I, along with many neighbors in this community, have cooperated with them. I will not be granting an interview. Being a parent, I cannot imagine Miss Gilbert's pain. My wife and I keep her family in our prayers. Saddest thing, Mary Gilbert was deleted by her daughter just a few years later. We watched her do all of this work to try and get Shannon's name out there and to find her. And then she was working after they found her to try and get the guy locked up, whoever did this. And then her daughter, who was schizophrenic, ended up deleting her. Again, this is to 48 Hours, and I believe it's back to Miss Moriarty. I hope this letter answers some questions you raised when we spoke last Friday. I had met Shannon's boyfriend, Alex, and driver, Mike, when they came to my community to look for Shannon in the days following her disappearance. I gave them my contact information should I be able to help in any way. During my conversation with them, they asked that I call the family. My wife and I checked our long-distance phone bills. There's only one bill which has calls documented to Kingston, New York. It shows that I spoke with Alex on May 6, 2010, 7:20 p.m. and 7:25. I called redacted at his request and spoke with Miss Gilbert. So is this a mystery as to where he ended up getting this telephone number? I called redacted, and I think it was a sister's number. The call was also 4 minutes long. These calls were over a year ago now, and exact content is difficult to remember, but at no time during any of my conversation with Shannon's friends or family did I suggest I had ever met her or rendered medical care of any sort to her. You see, I just don't believe this guy. As previously mentioned, I met with Miss Gilbert, her sister, and friends in the presence of my guests and family on Mother's Day, May 9th, 2010, when they were distributing missing persons posters. We answered questions for them, and to the best of our ability, at no point were we dismissive. However, we emphasized the need to follow up with the police departments involved, and we parted on friendly terms. I'm perplexed as to why, almost a year later, I became a person of interest to the family and media. I did not even know who Joseph Brewer was. Aha. Now, Joseph Brewer was where Shannon went to work on the Long Island Expressway in this little town. She called 911 from Joseph Brewer's. She ended up taking off from her driver, and Joseph Brewer allegedly was knocking on all the different doors in that area, including Peter Hackett's. And somehow from him going, I treated her, no, I didn't treat her, I met her, no, I didn't meet her, she ended up, let's look, she ended up right outside his home. There's his home, and this is where they found Shannon. Sorry about that, guys. So this is his home, and this is where they found Shannon. So I don't know. I think he's sus as. Okay, let's see here. I am perplexed as to why almost a year later I became a person of interest to the family and media. Again, he's saying he did not know Joseph Brewer. In May, my wife and I were preparing for both a high school and college graduation. I drove cross country with my eldest daughter to her new job since we had heard no news about the missing woman. We thought she may have gone home. In December, when the news reported a body found, we realized otherwise. You asked me why I didn't take a polygraph test. I was willing, but I learned that certain health issues that I am being treated for would negate its results and therefore interpretation. Frankly, since I am not a suspect, it would be a waste of time and resources. I am allergic to dogs, but welcome the cadaver dog to come through our home and property. They found no evidence. Once again, I emphasize my fervent hopes that Shannon is found alive and that there was no foul. If there was foul play, that justice can take its course. Yeah. Yeah. Unreal. Yes. Yeah, well said. Okay, so November 29th, 2011, Police Commissioner Richard Dormer revealed that police now believe one Cheerio. For anyone who doesn't know, new to the channel, Cheerio is something we've come up with for an SK. So they're saying that they believe one Cheerio is responsible and that Shannon Gilbert's case is not connected. We believe that it's just a coincidence that she went missing in Oak Beach and that the bodies were found on Gilgo Beach. You know, now with Shannon, I cannot say that I believe 1,000% that she is connected. Just because we throw in Dr. Defib into that. Now, the only way I can see that is if he knew Rex, which is definitely a possibility. We've heard all sorts of things that have gone on that little stretch there involving previous cops, allegedly, workers, allegedly, wild parties, really wild parties. December 6, 2011, Shannon Gilbert's pocketbook, ID, cell phone, jeans, and shoes were found during a search of an Oak Beach marsh. So they probably did check all through there. She had everything with her. December 13th, 2011, Shannon Gilbert's body is discovered in the Oak Beach marsh a quarter mile from where her belongings were found. Homicide detectives spotted her remains at 9:14 a.m., Commissioner Dormer stated. This may be just a young lady who ran into the brush in a hysterical state, fell down, and expired for some reason. I don't know about that. Is that the way it works? You deal with these creepy guys, and for no reason at all, she's found unalived in a marsh between that guy's house and the highway. So on February 17th, 2012, they're saying this is not officially linked at this time. They found skeletal remains in a wooded area in the Manorville Woods. How creepy is that place? Wow. So off North Street and west of Wading River Road, the body was wrapped in bed sheets, a plastic bag, and duct tape. Police determined the victim was a male and estimated the body had been there for at least 5 years. Name us page. Really? We'll just keep that. Pre-50s, Caucasian, 30 to 50. Yeah, they're just not finding a lot. What an interesting name is. I like it. May 1st, 2012, Suffolk County Sheriff Shannon Gilbert's autopsy results with her family and the COD will say is inconclusive. Her family does not believe that she drowned and that her passing was connected to the other Cheerio victims. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. Do you think that she has anything to do with the rest of the girls and one male found in Gilgo Beach? Skeletal remains of a woman were discovered in a garbage bag along the shore of Laddingtown, New York. The victim was wearing a 24-karat gold pig pendant, which may be a reference to the year of the pig in some Asian cultures. So they're not giving us much information. It looks like they might have a picture of the pendant. Isn't that adorable? Little pig. That is very distinct. Lobster clasp. Very good chain. So Natasha Jugo was last seen leaving her home in Queens. This is March 16th, 2013. Yeah. That would make sense. Or chased down in the spot she was and the same thing happened. So let's see, Natasha Jugo. Oh, there we go. Very pretty girl. I am very, very curious to find out if this is going to have anything to do with Rex eventually. Because slowly but surely, it seems to me that he's getting busted by the DNA. I'm just going to take a quick look and see. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crime Den. Okay, give me a second here. I want to check it out. I just am curious to see if anything else is out. I'm gonna look at this, guys.
All right. Alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann is now connected to a 7th murder. He was in court this morning where he was officially charged in the death of Valerie Mack. CBS News New York is covering this breaking news. Let's watch.
Women between 93 and 2001. As you can see, there was a press conference going on in Suffolk County right now, and let's check in with what they're saying.
In court. As I've previously stated, the work of the Gilgo Task Force is ongoing and continuing. And when I said that, I meant what I said. The defendant is now charged with the murder of 7 young women, Sandra Castilla from 1993, Valerie Mack from 2000, Jessica Taylor from 2003, Maureen Brainerd Barnes from 2007, Melissa Bartholomew from 2009, Megan Waterman from 2010 in June, and Amber Costello from September of 2010. Again, they occurred between 1993 and 2010. We are here because the Gilgo Task Force has continued to work together to obtain not only evidence for the charged crimes, but has continued to work on other uncharged crimes as well. And I am grateful for the great work that the Gilgo Task Force has done. Of course, not only my office and my team, but the other agencies who have worked with us. And we're gonna talk about that in a while. As you've also probably noticed, we here with us today are the victims' family members. I think pretty much every charged victim, their family members are here. Specifically, we're joined by Joanne and Edwin Mack, who are the parents of Valerie Mack. Through the grand jury process, we get to learn a little bit about our victims, and we did that through the Mack family. Valerie is very similar to the other victims in this case, extraordinary person. The family are extraordinary people, and we are honored to prosecute this case for Valerie and her family, or on behalf of Valerie and her family. And again, I think the Mack family is emblematic of the other families in this case who have steadfastly stood by their loved ones and jealously guarded their memories. And we have nothing but respect and admiration for those victims' families. We also, speaking of gratitude, I want to mention our task force partners, some of whom I haven't mentioned here before, but of course we have our great sheriffs, Suffolk County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Errol Toulon Jr. I know undersheriffs, I spoke with undersheriffs Steve Kios and Keith Taylor. They're here to support us, and as well as the task force. Our Suffolk County Police Department, we have Acting Commissioner Rob Waring, who I spoke to, and I saw Deputy Police Commissioners Kevin Catalina and Daryl Simmons. So I know, among others, we have this homicide squad led by Kevin Byer, as well as Sergeant Stephen Geyer. Inspector Sean Barron from the Suffolk County PD is with us here today. I want to thank the Suffolk County PD, both the agency as well as the Homicide Bureau, for their work on this and many other cases. We have the New York State Police, Major Stephen Udise, Captain Ken Gine, and his team, who've been instrumental in the task force and the great work that they've done, and I want to thank them. We have FBI. Supervisory Special Agent Don Osbacher's here. Special Agent Craig Mateo, I believe, is here. But the FBI has been and continues to be tremendous help in this case, and we certainly want to thank them going forward. And we really appreciate the work that they've done.
I don't think any of us think that the FBI should have been basically kicked off the case by Burke, the Pickle Park monster. It seems once they all started to join forces and they set up this task team, that things really started to move along. I'm thrilled that we now have him attached to Valerie Mack. Now we need Peaches, we need Baby Doe, we need the Asian male. That we still need to find who deleted these other people. And if it's Rex, we still need to pinpoint everything on him just so he can be. I mean, everybody needs to get justice. Everybody needs it.
And the work that they continue to do for us. United States Secret Service, I don't know if they're here, but they've been assisting with a lot of the electronic devices, so we want to certainly thank them as well. New York City OCME, somehow I neglected to thank them through all of the various superseding indictments. Specifically, I want to thank their anthropology unit and their forensic biology department. They were working here in Suffolk during the commission of many of these crimes, and so they've come back to Suffolk to assist us in our investigation and prosecution of these cases, and they've done a tremendous job, and we certainly want to thank them, as well as our medical examiner's office in Suffolk County, led by Odette Hall. Dr. Hall has been tremendous in this case. Of course, our own Suffolk County Crime Lab with Director Constance Dinkle and her team. They have, again, like all of these partners, not only they help us with the Gilgo cases, they help us with so many more cases, and we certainly thank them. I want to thank my own team, led by Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, the ADAs who I've worked with, who are doing a tremendous job, and everyone, our team.
So I don't think I'll continue with this. We watched that a little bit earlier, but I did want to touch on that as well. So again, we have Natasha Jugo they're not saying that she is officially part of this task force, somebody that they're dealing with as far as Rex Heuermann goes, but they have added it to this list. So it makes me think that they are looking a little bit further for possibilities. Wow. So they found her wallet, ID, and some of her clothing on June 24th, 2013. Her body washed up on Gilgo Beach, about a mile from where her car was found in March. September 18th, 2014, forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden agreed to conduct an independent autopsy of Shannon Gilbert's remains in hopes of determining a clear cause of death. Now, Dr. Michael Baden, one of the best, absolutely. The results of the second autopsy were released in February 2016. Dr. Baden stated there is insufficient information to determine a single cause of death. So December 10th, 2015, Suffolk County Police Commissioner Tim Sini announced that the FBI had officially joined the investigation. July 23rd, 2016, Mary Gilbert, Shannon's mother, was deleted by her daughter in her home. One of her daughters, by the name of Sarah, was arrested and charged. Oh, that's just heart-wrenching. I didn't see that. I'm looking for it. See you later, Ruthie. See you later. Let me look and see if I can find anything with Gloria Allred. I'm just going to take a peek here. She's just a phenomenal lawyer. Okay, let's see this. Okay, we're going to take a look at this.
Huh? I know. Somebody's actually attached to my car.
So I'll just answer your questions. No questions? All right, we'll see you later.
What's your reaction to the new charges?
Well, in some ways, we had expected that there would be additional charges based on the fifth and sixth indictments, or I should say victims. I know that the district attorney is trying to put closure to these victims. And when I saw that the fifth and sixth came forward, which quite frankly, I don't think had any relationship in MO to 1 through 4. And I hate referring to these young ladies with numbers, but for now we can talk about it that way. I had expected that maybe at some point the Mack case would come forward as well.
Were you surprised that your client spoke, or did you direct him to speak?
Oh, I didn't direct him to speak. I know he's extremely frustrated. He has said from day one he is not responsible for these murders. He is, from day one, he wanted his day in court. So, no, he indicated, I expected him to say something lower level, but he obviously wanted to address the court, so he did.
Is he aware of the bail application where we're presuming that the district attorney is indicating that murders took place in Rex's home?
Did the bail application letter say that?
No, but it indicated that there was,
The district
the
attorney.
plumber who sent it in, and there.
Yeah, I briefly, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I briefly read the bail application letter because we had no notice. I just want to be clear, we had notice that this was forthcoming this morning. It was a regularly scheduled court date.
So I will, after this, we'll take a look at Gloria Allred, and then I'll probably leave the stream where it is and keep my eyes peeled for anything else.
The bail application letter, in
So this
large
is
part,
Rex's lawyer.
talks about the investigators on this case and what they believe. And if you look, it's paragraph after paragraph after paragraph saying what they believe. That's not evidence in a courtroom. Opinion testimony from a detective or an investigator really has no place in a trial. What's important is evidence. And I know that in the bail package, they talked about newspaper articles that were allegedly found in my client's home. What they didn't talk about is the fact that there were two different searches. So if you talk about newspaper articles, there are many people who are infatuated with this case, not just in Suffolk County, but across our country. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Infatuated.
That's probably underestimating the amount of people that are really attuned to this case over the last 15, 20 years. So what the prosecutor said today is they have these articles that were found in my client's home. What they didn't mention is that they had two different searches. One search was approximately 2 weeks. The search of, I think it was May of last year, or this year, was about maybe 4 or 5 days. They went through that house and that property with a fine-tooth comb. They dug up the backyard. They went into walls. They went into pipes. They went under the cement foundation. And they have yet to show anyone any evidence in that home. They allege that weapons and tools were used. They gathered and collected all those weapons and tools. There is no evidence that any victim's DNA is on any of those weapons or tools. There's no evidence that any of the victim's DNA is on anything in that home, but rather they're relying on cutouts of articles from the New York Post and People magazine. So that's in essence what they addressed today.
But they're talking about hairs that were found on Valerie Mack that matched people inside of the home.
So they had indicated, again, I'm only going off the bail package and their application in front of the judge. There's one hair that they now allege is on Ms. Mack that now they relate to his daughter. One hair. And
well,
I have not.
What was she doing in that basement?
This goes back to
I want to know.
This company in California. I would think at some point people can see that there's something a little weird about these allegations in the sense that every time they have a body, they claim there's one hair, not 6 here, 4 here, 3 here, but there's literally one hair that they say
is attributable to my client. And what they also don't tell you is that there's numerous other hairs that are found on each of these victims. And they don't tell you whose DNA that goes back to. Some are inconclusive, some actually go back to other people. And they don't tell you if there's any commonality between the DNA of these hairs that are found. But they go back to Estrella and this one single strand of hair on each of these young ladies.
Well, why
Now,
is
we
it
talked
there, though?
about in the past, and that's why we are looking forward to what's called a Fry hearing. Estrella is a company on the West Coast. They're not an accredited lab, a forensic lab, even in California, much less New York. They have never been accepted. Their science, this quote unquote science, has never been deemed reliable in our state. And lastly, keep in mind, I've gone through the discovery, and you see the amount of money that this lab is making. And their website, and I encourage you folks to go on it, the way that they sell themselves is we're going to solve all these unsolved crimes. And the money, and there is a financial factor, the money that they are
Don't
making
forget to hit that
turning
like
this
button,
out
guys.
is enormous. It's certainly enriching somebody. The other point is Valerie Mack's body was discovered in 2000, and the other parts of her body are in Gilgo Beach in 2011. My client was indicted a year and a half ago. They had this evidence a year and a half ago. How is it that all of a sudden now, after a year and a half, we are now coming out with these results and this DNA analysis on my client and in terms of Valerie Mack today? Like, what is the delay of examining a hair from a year and a half ago? So I pose that question to you. I don't know the answer to that. There's something that just doesn't sit right about why we're getting that now, when this analysis could have been done 10, 15, 20 years ago, but at least back at the year and a half when they indicted him for the first 4. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not giving answers. I'm looking forward to asking these questions at trial, but I just wanted to put that out as something else that we are going to explore.
Mr. Brown, did your
Yes.
client ever say to you who he thinks might be responsible? If he's...
Yeah, I can't get into our discussions about what we discussed, other than he is adamant that he did not do these crimes.
Do you plan on filing any motions to try these victims' cases separately?
Yes. So one of the two things that Judge Mazie said today that we discussed in the back was, number one is we're going to make a motion for this, what we call Fry hearing, and that's to determine the reliability and the acceptability of this, if you want to call it science, so be it, the Estrella company. The second motion that we will file, and hopefully we can get it in by that date, but I'm not optimistic, is a motion to sever some of the counts, in the sense that the first indictment had four victims. Then we had 2 additional ones, and today we have a 7th. So yes, we will be filing a motion to separate, especially the first 4 from the next 2, and then from the 7th. And listen, I'm saying this today. I don't know what else the prosecution has in store. I don't know if they're going to come back with another charge or set of charges. I have no idea. But as we stand here now today, that's our plan. Yes.
So separating the cases, but no longer looking for chamber venue?
It's a good question. And we've been struggling and talking about getting the case out of Suffolk County. We don't know what we want to do in that regard, only because the people of Suffolk County are familiar with a lot of the intricacies of this case. And Chief Burke, former Chief Burke, is really important to this case, and especially after reviewing the discovery that I've received. And the people of this county know about that situation. So you have to be careful what you wish for. If we make a motion to change the venue, clearly it's going to be within the state of New York. It would be another county somewhere else. Do I think that you folks haven't gotten to them in the sense that they don't read the coverage and go on the internet? No, I don't, quite frankly. I think in today's world, with the media coverage on this case, there's a strong likelihood that they are subject to the coverage that we have here in Suffolk County. And along those lines, what 12 people do we want sitting on this case other than folks in Suffolk County who know exactly what was going on at that time? So we'll long-winded answer to your question. I don't know yet.
What would be the reason?
That was a lot for an I don't know.
Well, it's like anything else. So what happens is you should judge a case on the evidence on that particular case. And we can, I'm not going to say we concede, but clearly there's a very similar pattern between 1 through 4. The first 4, they call them the Gilgo 4. 5 and 6, if you look at Ms. Castilla and Ms. Taylor, they are completely different. They're in a totally different location. The manner in which these ladies were found is completely different. There's no phone calls associated with them in this box that they talk about. And the same goes for number 7 in terms of Ms. Mack. Again, the body was allegedly dumped in, I think, in Manorville, and there's no phone records and things of that nature. So what the government and what prosecutors like to do often is kind of use one case to bootstrap another case, and they'll take some evidence from one case, and hopefully the jury thinks and looks at that evidence to help convict somebody of another charge. And that's why they want everything together. They want it to be cumulative. But that's not how a trial should be, and that's not how it should go in this case.
Well, of course it
so
should.
Each case should rise and fall on its own. And that's why we would make a motion to separate or sever the different cases. It does. It does. Every time, obviously, there's a new victim that he's charged with, it definitely delays everything. Now we have to go through a whole series and set of discovery, which is voluminous. You folks have heard me talk about it, and I know Mr. Brady has talked about it.
Voluminous. Because
and then it also complicates in terms of strategic issues like the motions to sever and motions to change forms. So all of that plays into it, yes. But every time there's a new victim that he's charged with, it absolutely delays this case.
But the judge had said he wanted to do a Friday hearing.
Well, we're okay with that. Just nail his butt to the wall.
Is to move things up. That maybe he wants to go even quicker now.
Yeah, Justice Mazie definitely wants to move this along. We have a job to do. We have to protect the rights of Mr. Heuermann. He's claimed he is innocent of these charges, bless you. So we have to make sure that we get enough and we have time to review everything. The Fry hearing, I'm not so concerned about, so long as we get all of the scientific data and evidence that the prosecution has, and we can get it over to our experts. If that's done, then we can go forward with the Fry hearing. These timetables are not set in stone. So, and the judge has been very receptive to the prosecution in terms of allowing them time to do what they have to do, and we expect the same from Justice.
Do you still think that Chief Burke may have had involvement in these crimes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with
100%.
that. I agree with that.
It's again, I'm a big fan of common sense. And the fact that Chief Burke would not even let the federal authorities get involved in this case when he was the chief of police, that is quite disturbing. And you couple that with the fact that it is known that Chief Burke victimized prostitutes. That too is very troubling. And there's other.
So did your client.
Which we'll hold back for trial.
Do they know each other? Is what I want to know.
Absolutely problematic in regards to Chief Burke.
Did they know each other?
He's definitely somebody that we want. And again, we would love to get the federal file on Chief Burke. I don't think the district attorney is going to turn that over, much to our chagrin, because we think that that's going to be important to this case. The federal authorities have assisted the district attorneys on this case. They have done surveillance. They've done the phones in terms of creating this box in Massapequa Park. They're very intricately involved in this case. But it's troubling to us when they pick and choose what they want to give us. And that's one of the things that is troubling to us.
Do you think you might call Chief Burke to the witness stand if this goes to trial?
If we call Chief Burke, he would take the fifth. So in other words, he's not going to incriminate himself. But I don't know the answer.
So that means you won't call them?
I'm sorry?
Come on.
Do I believe who knew each other? I don't know.
Sorry, forgive me, you said your client was surprised by
Sorry,
today.
guys.
You were surprised by today, or you were not?
Yeah, nobody, the district attorney's office never gave us any notice that this was forthcoming.
With your client's indictment for Sandra Castilla, are you looking at John Petroff at all for your defense?
There's also John
Petroff is
Petroff.
somebody who was engaged in this very type of conduct at the very same location.
And I'm not saying Rex is innocent. I just want to know if he knows these people.
She was. And if you look at the former deputy chief of the Homicide Bureau for the district attorney's office, when he was trying the Petroff case, he specifically told the press that Petroff may very well be the Gilgo Beach killer. And the MO matches completely when you deal with
Rex's
the
DNA is all
cases,
over it.
specifically Ms. Taylor, Ms. Castilla, and now Ms. Mack. So yeah, I think Mr. Petroff may very well be a subject.
Well, is it also a problem because Petroff was arrested under Burke and convicted under Sloda in all those implications? Have you considered all of that?
I don't know when he was arrested and when he was convicted specifically, but clearly he may be a target of this case.
There.
Good?
Thank you.
Okay. Yep, you got it.
Okay, guys. So we're going to look at, we're going to take a look at Gloria Allred. She is also going to speak out for the victims. I missed this a little bit earlier. So before we bounce, I think we'll take a look at this as well. Don't forget the crime den. You want to be there or be square.
Good morning. My name is Attorney Gloria Allred. I'm a victims' rights attorney representing the family members of some of the victims in this case. The defendant, Rex Heuermann, has been indicted and is facing criminal charges related to the homicides of my client's loved ones. He has entered a plea of, quote, not guilty, end quote, to the charges against him for the victims whose family members I represent. Here with me today are my clients. And if you would like to just raise your hand when I say your name, that would be fine. And I'll just give their first name. But if they wish later, they can also give their last name. Lynn, who is the mother of victim Melissa Bartholomew. Lynn. Amanda, sister of victim Melissa. Nicolette, daughter of victim Maureen Brainerd Barnes.
Aww.
Elizabeth, mother of victim Jessica Taylor. Jasmine, cousin of victim Jessica Taylor. Elizabeth, aunt of victim Megan Waterman. We are here today because we wish to support the family members of victim Valerie Mack. We want her family to know that they are not alone in their grief. My clients have also lost a loved one as a result of a homicide. And as a result, many of them have experienced despair, depression, anger, trauma, and grief that results from such a tragic loss. As Queen Elizabeth once said, quote, grief is the price that we pay for love, end quote. Even though what is alleged in the superseding indictment is stated to have taken place decades ago, the impact of the loss and the knowledge that this is not a missing persons case, but is instead a first or second degree murder case, has caused the pain that they feel to cut to their hearts. Their loss and what their loved one may have suffered before she was killed has affected them emotionally, and in some cases physically as well, even now, decades later in 2024. Let's be clear. None of the victims deserved to die. They were all innocent, and they were just trying to earn some funds to support themselves and their families. They were, and they are, loved, and they are missed every day by those who knew them and who had a strong bond with them. My clients have traveled here today to say to Valerie Mack's family that we see you, we hear you, and we ask you to accept our condolences for your loss. My clients have been here at many court hearings because they want their loved ones to be remembered, and they want to give their loved ones a voice through their friends and family members. And in addition, they support each other. Most of all, however, they want justice for those who were murdered and who were buried at Gilgo Beach. There can be no healing without justice, and no justice unless whoever committed these most serious crimes against the victims is held accountable in a court of law. My clients also want to know the truth of what happened to those they loved and still love. They want both the truth and justice, because there can be no justice without the truth, and there can be no truth without justice. These family members whom I represent have shed many tears throughout this process. We thank them for the courage that they have demonstrated in order to honor their loved
This
ones
is so sad.
and win the legal justice that they all deserve. And at this point, while they are not going to be answering any questions today, we would like to show our support for the family of Valerie Mack, and to do so by presenting a flower in honor of Valerie. So, thank you. First person would be Lynn, who is mother of victim Melissa. Okay, thank you. Amanda, sister of victim Melissa. Thank you. Nicolette, daughter of victim Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Melissa, sister of victim Maureen Brainerd Barnes.
Oh, my lordy. Aw.
Jasmine? No,
It's just heartbreaking.
Yes, Jasmine. Cousin of victim Jessica Taylor. Elizabeth, aunt of victim Megan Waterman.
Aw.
know if there's anyone here that I don't represent who is a member of a family of a victim. If so, I'm happy to have you present roses. Okay, this will be from me. Okay. If there are any questions, be happy to take them. But the victims are not available for interviews today.
That's
Sorry, I
fair
can't
enough.
hear you.
I mean, brutal.
When he said not guilty?
Huh.
I don't know if anyone wants to answer that.
I heard somebody stop.
Okay. Well, you know, it'll be for a jury to decide if, as and when it gets to a jury, if the prosecutor has proven his case beyond a reasonable doubt, very high burden of proof, the highest burden of proof in the law. And he certainly has a right, that is, the defendant does, to say not guilty. And that is his position. And under the law, he is presumed innocent unless and until he is found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. So he could say it until he's blue in the face, but really what matters is what the evidence shows.
Exactly.
And of course, he has a right to take the witness stand and testify if he so chooses, or not testify if he would like to invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. So we'll have to wait and see. But I can tell you this. This group behind me are some of the most courageous people I have ever met.
Absolutely.
They have been through such horrific experiences. And they support each other. They sacrifice to come here. They try to show how strong they are, but they shed many tears when they're alone. And when they have to see this accused person in the courtroom. So they will be here. And they will be here. And they will be here until all the evidence is in and everything is done that can be done to identify other victims and to see if those victims should.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Result in a connection to the defendant. And that'll be something for the grand jury to decide as well. So thanks very much for coming today.
Oh, Lord. I wonder how old she is now. God. Evil deeds, evil deeds. Yeah, I mean, I just cannot imagine being in their shoes. Good Lord, as it goes on and on and on. But you know what? I think that they're, I mean, maybe not pleased with it, but I think they can understand as people start to be known victims to Rex Heuermann. There's still more out there. You know, there's still, I always talk about Massapequa Park every time I get into talking about Rex. There is that massive, massive park just a few blocks from his house in Massapequa. And you know, he had to have been roaming it as a kid. I know I would have been. He'd know that place inside and out. I don't know that they've ever looked there, but I hope they have. And if not, I hope they do. So guys, thanks again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to finish up. Let's see here if I can do this. I'm going to do it. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe to The Crime Den. I'll see you guys soon in the next one. Bye.
dun 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 dun.